Welcome guys, let's solve maximum consecutive ones version 3. Given a binary array names and an integer k, return the maximum number of consecutive ones in the array if you can flip at most k zeros. So let's have the first example. As you can see in the first example, the number of zeros we can flip is going to be 2, and the answer is going to be the maximum number of consecutive ones is going to be this one, the last one, right? It's going to be 6. So let's take an example, right? Or one example. Let's say I have 1 here, and let's say I'm going to have two zeros, and the last is going to be 1. And let's say I'm going to have k is going to be 2. So the maximum number of zeros we can flip is 2, right? So let's have two pointers. Let's say I have the right pointer and the left pointer, right? So the right pointer moves whenever the number it points is going, if it is there, if it is 1, right? So the right, as you can see, right is pointing to 1, right? We will move it to this position. So as this position also is 1, right? So we can move it to this position. And it's also the same 1, right? We can move it to this position. As you can see, in this position, the right pointer is going to have 0, right? So we are going to ask, can I flip this 0 to a 1? Yes, right? Because the number of keys we can flip is 2, right? So I'm going to flip this 1 to, if it's going to be flip, it's going to flip to 1, and the number of cases we are going to flip is decrement to 1. Then we move our right pointer to this position, meaning like we don't need to change this value to a 1, but we can just moving one step to the right means we can flip the previous 0, right? So at this position, we are going to ask, can we flip this 0 to a 1? Yes, right? Because the number of flips we have is 1, right? It's greater than 0. So we can move our right pointer to this position. So as you can see, the number of zeros we can flip is 0 at this position, at this when the where right pointer is here. So the right pointer is now at the end, right? And it's pointing to 1. So the difference, so we are going to calculate the difference between, since right is going to be out of the bound, so we just calculate the difference between the right and the left. So it's going to be 6, right? Left, so left, right minus left plus 1 is going to be 6. So the maximum number of consecutive ones is going to be 6 for this case. But what if we have a different scenario, like the number of cases we are going to flip is 1. What if it is 1? As this case, let's say start our left is going to be here and our right is going to be in the first index, right? So we will move our right pointer as much as we can. If if it is pointing a 1, right? Let's move it to this position. So we'll move it to here, right? Right is going to be here. And as this position, we're going to ask, if this, can we flip this 0 to a 1? Yes, right? Because the number of case we can flip is 1, right? So we'll move the right to this position. So the number of cases we flip is 0 at this position, right? So we will ask, can we flip this 0 to a 1? No, right? Because the number of cases we can flip is, since the number of zeros we can flip is 0. So we will take the difference between the left and the right. It's going to be 4 in this case, right? So then we will move our left pointer to this position, right? So since the left pointer is pointing to 1, the number of zeros we are going to flip. So when we remove from our window, we are going to remove this 1, right? So but if it was 0, we can just increment the number of zeros we can flip by 1, right? But this is 1, right? So we are not going to add this k, right? So still, the right pointer is not going to move to the right. So we will move the left to this position, and we'll remove this to our from window, right? Then we will ask, can we add the number of, can we add k by 1? No, right? Because it is a 1, and we will the left to this position. Then that means we are removing it from the window, right? So When we remove one from the window, can we ask, is it zero? No, right? So k is not going to be increment. So at this position, we will ask, is it zero? Yes. So we can add one to our k, right? It's going to be one because we are removing this zero from our window. So then now R can move, right? Because we can flip this 0 to a 1, and R is going to be at this position. Then, since R is at the end of, since R is going to be out of bound, we can take that difference between the left and the right. It's going to be 2. So the maximum so far the maximum is going to be 4, right? Our answer is going to be 4. So solving this way, the time complete is going to be off in, the space is going to be off one. So let's go to the implementation. So we need to have a left. Before we need to know the lengths of nums, right? We need to know nums. Then for this iterate, and we can just say let's have right is 0, while right is less than n. We are going to ask if the number which the right pointer is 1. If it is 1, we just move the right by one step to the right. So if if it is 0, if the number which is the right pointer currently pointing is, if it is 0, we need to ask if k is greater than 0, right? If it is greater than 0, we can move the right. We can move the right. We can say, like, we can flip the current 0 to 1, so we can move the right pointer. Then we decrement k by 1. But if all of them are not happen, if all of them are false, we can just say max consig. We need to have max consig. If max consig is just initially 0, then we are going to maximize between max itself and the difference between right and left. Right? So just we will maximize. Then we will ask if the number in the left we're removing, the number we are removing from the window, if it is 0. If it is 0, we can just say we can k by 1, and left is move one step from left to right. Then we have to return, what if all the numbers are 1, right? If all the numbers are 1 in the array, just this is going to, this is not going to, this is never executed, right? This part of this part of the code is never going to execute, right? So we have to just say, we have to return the max of max config, and the difference between right and the left, right? So let's see if this works for. So as I said, the time is going to be off in, and the space is going to be off on. So let's see if it works for the test cases. As you can pass for all of them. For, and let's see. So as you can, guys, as you can see, it passed for all of them. So guys, if you like this video, please subscribe.